Please welcome Ellen Bass.
I want to thank everybody, but I'm afraid if I start to name you, I'm going to forget somebody really important. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you, Nickole. I'm going to read a couple poems from a couple previous books and then some poems that are not yet in books. Relax. Bad things are going to happen. Your tomatoes will grow a fungus and your cat will get run over. Someone will leave the bag with the ice cream melting in the car and throw your blue cashmere sweater in the dryer. Your husband will sleep with a girl your daughter's age, her breasts spilling out of her blouse. Or your wife will remember she's a lesbian and leave you for the woman next door. The other cat, the one you never really liked, will contract a disease that requires you to pry open its feverish mouth every 4 hours. Your parents will die. No matter how many vitamins you take, how much Pilates, you'll lose your keys, your hair, and your memory. If your daughter doesn't plug her heart into every live socket she passes, you'll come home to find your son has emptied the refrigerator, dragged it to the curb, and called the used appliance store for a pickup, drug money. The Buddha tells a story of a woman chased by a tiger. When she comes to a cliff, she sees a sturdy vine and climbs halfway down. But there's also a tiger below, and 2 mice, one white, one black, scurry out and begin to gnaw at the vine. At this point, she notices a wild strawberry growing from a crevice. She looks up, down, at the mice. Then she eats the strawberry. So here is the view, the breeze, the pulse in your throat. Your wallet will be stolen. You'll get fat. Slip on the bathroom tiles in a foreign hotel and crack your hip. You'll be lonely. Oh, taste how sweet and tart the red juice is. How the tiny seeds crunch between your teeth. When I was thinking about introducing these poems, this next poem takes place in Bakersfield, California. I was thinking probably no one here is from Bakersfield, California. But then I just re-met 2 people from Santa Cruz in 1970s when I was there first. And so maybe there is someone here from Bakersfield, California. Is anyone from Bakersfield? Does anyone have you ever been to Bakersfield, California? Yes, there actually are. Okay. Well, do you know the Padre Hotel? Yes. Okay, here we go. I didn't, but now I do. At the Padre Hotel in Bakersfield, California. It's Saturday night, and all the heterosexuals in smart little dresses and sports coats are streaming into what we didn't know was the hottest spot between Las Vegas and LA. Janet and I are in jeans and fleece, not a tube of lipstick or mascara wand between us. Grayheads, a species easy to identify without a guidebook, the over-the-hill lesbian couples of the Pacific Northwest. Janet's carrying our red and white cooler with snacks for the road across the marble tiles of the Art Deco lobby. When we turn and see the couple entering through the tall glass doors, slicing through the crowd like a whetted blade. The butch is ordinary enough, a stocky white woman in tailored shirt and slacks. But the confection, no, the pièce de résistance, whose hand she holds, is of another genus entirely. Her cinnamon sheen, her gold dress zipped tighter than the skin of a snake, and her deep décolletage exposed enough for open heart surgery. She's a yacht in a sea of rowboats, an Italian fountain by Bernini. She's the Statue of Liberty, the Hubble telescope that lets us gaze into the birth of galaxies. Oh, may they set that hotel room ablaze here in this drab land of agribusiness and oil refineries, outdoing Pittsburgh as the top polluted city of the nation. Trash it like rock stars, rip up the 300 thread count sheets, free the feathers from the pillows, and may that grand femme be consumed, right down to the glitter on her slingback 4-inch stilettos and whatever she's glued on her magnificent skin to keep the plunge of that neckline from careening clear off the curve. That was a sight. I had the great good fortune to spend a week in Southern Oregon at the Andrews Experimental Forest, which is a forest where they're experimenting, trying to find out what it is that forests do and can do, what happens when they're clear cut, what happens when they're left to grow. And as many of you probably know, that forests left to decay are a huge source of being able to sequester carbon, but some people think they should be swept. Some of these trees, though, there are 300, 500, many of them are 300, 500 years old. They even have 700-year-old trees. It's a conifer forest, mostly. But I sometimes, when I'm faced with big and magnificent things, find myself looking at something very small. And this is called Fungus on Fallen Alder at Lookout Creek. Florid, fluted, flowery petal, flounce of a girl's dress, ruffled fan, striped in what seems to my simple eye an excess of extravagance. Intricately ribboned like a secret code, a colorist's vision of DNA. At the outermost edge, a scallop of ivory, then a tweedy russet, then mouse gray. A crescent of celadon velvet, a streak of sleek seal brown, a dark arc of copper, then butter, then celadon again, again butter, again copper, and on into the center, striped thinner and thinner to the green, green, moss-furry heart. How can this be necessary? Yet it grows and is making more of itself. Dozens and dozens of tiny stars no bigger than a baby's thumbnail, all of them sucking one young dead tree on a gravel bank that will be washed away in the next flooding winter. But isn't the air here cool and wet and almost unbearably sweet? I got into, you know how you kind of get lost online? And I started bumping into these lists of words that are untranslatable from one language to another, and just got fascinated. And I wanted to include them all in my poem, but as we've been talking about in our workshop, you can't include everything. So I had to kind of choose ultimately, but that was the origin, thinking about words that couldn't be translated, and it's called The Small Country. Unique, I think, is the Scottish tartle, that hesitation when introducing someone whose name you've forgotten. And what could capture cafuné, the Brazilian Portuguese way to say running your fingers tenderly through someone's hair? Is there a term in any tongue for choosing to be happy? And where is speech for the block of ice we pack in the sawdust of our hearts? What appellation approaches the smell of apricots thickening the air when you boil jam in early summer? What words reach the way I touched you last night, as though I had never known a woman, an explorer, wholly curious to discover each particular fold and hollow, without guide, not even the mirror of my own body? Last night, you told me you liked my eyebrows. You said you never really noticed them before. What is the word that fuses this freshness with the pity of having missed it? And how even touch itself cannot mean the same to both of us, even in this small country of our bed, even in this language with only 2 native speakers. This is a poem that I wrote to my old dog Zeke shortly before he died. But don't be too sad. He lived a very long, good life. To Zeke. O breathing drum, O cask of dark waters, O decaying star, my barking heart, my breaking brother, what will seep into the space your body leaves? O huge 18-muscled ears, oscillating ossicles and cochlea, your busy canals, now hollow caves of quiet. I have said your fur is black, but you are silvered, rimed with frost. You are the new moon, you are light in the dark house. How long will I see your shadow? O heavy hunk of existence, O great flank I have rested my head upon when I was too weak for human touch. Sleek leading man, you debonair dog, how people on the avenue stopped to swoon. O splaying legs, once faster than rabbits, canines slashing flesh, urgent thug, unstoppable thrust, O happy snapping at the wind. What do you remember now that you are mudslide, glacier melting, cliff collapsing into the sea? I have memorized your milky breath, your ballet leaps and whirly-gigging, your princely patience as the children dressed you, soccer Zeke in jersey and shorts, one paw on the ball, snorkel Zeke with mask and fins, bar mitzvah Zeke in a yarmulke and my father's silk talit. O my text of decrepitude, my usher to death, companion of 10,000 years. I'll fry you a fish, I'll sit by your bowl, eat from my hand, I have nowhere to go. Roses. I was telling my workshop that when I was a developing poet, my mentor, I had the great good fortune to have my mentor be Laure-Anne Bosselaar. And I had so many flowers and green vines and roses in my poems that she told me that I couldn't put a rose in my poem for a year. And not many leaves either. But now I'm allowed to have a rose now and then, so this is roses. 4 roses drinking from a blue vase. The first one I name Moment of Gladness. The second, Resting Beauty from Fear. All year I watched her disappearing, the sweet fat of her hips, her laughter, her will, as though a whelk had drilled through her shell, sucked out the flesh. Death woke me each morning with its bird impersonation. But now she has cut these clouds of glory, and a honeyed musk sublimes from their petals, veined fine as an infant's eyelids, and spiraling like any embryo, fish, snake, or human. And she has carried them to me, saturated in the colors they have not swallowed, the blush and gold, the razzle-dazzle red, riven from the dirt to cleave here briefly. And now, as though to signify our fortune, a tiny insect journeys across the kingdom of one ivory petal and into the heart of the blossom. Oh, small mercies sliced from the root, I listen as they sip the blue water. Goat, cow, man. After the mob murdered the man for eating a cow, it was found to be meat from a goat. Why can I not stop thinking about it? The stringy flesh inside his gut, and the microbes run riot when his heart stopped. How fast they started breaking down the blood-clotted muscle of his stomach. Slick intestines, as though they were meant to destroy the evidence of human, what can I call it, sin, the curse of certainty, some twist in the helix that insists on splitting us apart. The cow is not the goat. I am not you. The man is a few inches of old newsprint, a knot of hair, eye sockets, but I keep picturing that kitchen, his wife and children stuttering, it's goat, and the goat, her white coat, the little kernels of her teeth, her pale, slitted eyes. Indigo. As I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me, pushing one of those jogging strollers with shock absorbers so the baby can keep sleeping, which this baby is. I can just get a glimpse of its almost translucent eyelids. The father is young, a jungle of indigo and carnelian tattooed from knuckle to jaw, leafy vines and blossoms, saints and symbols. Thick wooden plugs pierce his lobes, and his sunglasses testify to the radiance haloed around him. I am so jealous, as I often am. It's a kind of obsession. I want him to have been my child's father. I want to have married a man who wanted to be in a body, who wanted to live in it so much that he marked it up like a book, underlining, highlighting, writing in the margins, I was here. Not like my dead ex-husband, who was always fighting against the flesh, who sat for hours on his zafu chanting Om, and then went out and broke his hand punching the car. I imagine when this galloping man gets home, he's going to want to have sex with his wife, who slept in late. And then he'll eat barbecued ribs and let the baby teethe on a bone while he drinks a cold, dark beer. I can't stop wishing my daughter had had a father like that. I can't stop wishing I'd had that life. Oh, I know, it's a miracle to have a life, any life at all. It took 8 years for my parents to conceive me. First, there was the war, and then just waiting. And my mother's bones so narrow, she had to be slit and I airlifted. That anyone is born, each precarious success From sperm and egg to zygote, embryo, infant is a wonder. And here I am, alive, almost 70 years, and nothing has killed me. Not the car I totaled running a stop sign, or the spirochete that screwed into my blood. Not the tree that fell in the forest exactly where I was standing, my best friend shoving me backward, so I fell on my ass as it crashed. I'm alive, and I gave birth to a child, so she didn't get a father who'd sling her onto his shoulder, and so much else she didn't get. I've cried most of my life over that. And now there's everything that we can't talk about. We love but cannot take too much of each other. Yet she is the one who, when I asked her to kill me if I no longer had my mind, we were on our way into Ross shopping for dresses. That's something she likes, and they all look adorable on her. She's the only one who didn't hesitate or refuse or waver or flinch. As we strode across the parking lot, she said, "Okay, but when's the cutoff? That's what I need to know." And I'll end with this poem, "Any common desolation can be enough to make you look up at the yellowed leaves of the apple tree, the few that survive the rains and frost, shot with late afternoon sun. They glow a deep orange glow against a blue so sheer a single bird would rip it like silk. You may have to break your heart, but it isn't nothing to know even one moment alive. The sound of an oar in an oarlock, or a ruminant animal tearing grass. The smell of grated ginger, the ruby neon of the liquor store sign, warm socks. You remember your mother, her precision a ceremony, as she gathered the white cotton, slipped it over your toes, drew up the heel, turned the cuff. A breath can uncoil as you walk across your own muddy yard, the Big Dipper pouring night down over you, and everything you dread, all you can't bear, dissolves, and, like a needle slipped into your vein, that sudden rush of the world." Thank you.